One theory behind your split was this whole food hoarding claim.
I mean, it's laughable.
The other big rumor that I've seen floating around online was that you reminded Gypsy a lot of her mother.
If anybody knows Gypsy, they know that Gypsy does whatever she wants, whenever she wants.
It feels so weird being in a car.
Yeah, I get to touch your leg.
So you and Gypsy are on this whirlwind journey. She gets out of prison. You very much had the opportunity to say goodbye to the cameras. I want to start living as husband and wife. Let's just live a normal life and try to acclimate. But you and Gypsy, I think together, made the decision to invite the cameras back in after prison confessions.
I think it was one of those where, like, she wanted to do it. So it was one of those where, like, me being her husband, I had to go with it. You know, it was one of those, like...
You had to be supportive of
yeah,
that.
absolutely. So it was one of those where, like, I had to sign on too. So, like, we stepped into it together. Like, we have, you know, we came to the decision to do it together, but it was already set in stone kind of before.
Do you think you'd be in the position you're in now as exes if maybe the cameras were not present?
I don't know. I'm still processing a lot, still reflecting. You know, it's one of those where I can't pinpoint anything specific yet.
Yeah.
I have theories. I have my ideas. I know, like, events that happen, you know, and it's one of those where I'm not wanting to say that stuff yet.
But it sounds like filming certainly contributed to the stress.
It definitely stressed us both out.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt about that. But it's just one of those where there's a lot of other factors that played in to make this happen like this.
So the first episode of Life After Lockup is out.
Correct.
Have you watched it?
I watched some of it. Yeah. Like,
Why some?
It's hard to watch. It's difficult because we're happy, you know, and it's one of those where, like, I thought we were happy too. You know, it's one of those where it is hard to see, you know, like, especially that first night. That was such a great night.
That was great.
We got to consummate our marriage.
We did get to do that.
He always used to say, I'm a dynamo. And I'm like, every guy says that. No, he's a dynamo.
I want to give you props because intimacy is a tough topic to talk about publicly, but it's something that Gypsy has not shied away from.
Right.
There was that comment on Instagram heard around the world. What do you make of how public you and Gypsy have both been about a topic as sensitive as intimacy?
It's different. I didn't expect that. You know, it's one of those where, like, it has definitely helped me, you
How?
know, like, with that comment. I mean, why wouldn't it? You know, it's just one of those.
You got your mojo?
Yeah, like, you know, DMs and stuff like that.
Any regrets about sharing something like that?
You know, it's one of those where, like, I feel confident knowing that I was genuine and my intentions were pure.
Yeah.
You know, I think anybody watching can see that I was there for Gypsy. And
of
I mean,
course.
and that's all I ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those where I wouldn't be on camera if it wasn't for Gypsy. You know, it's one of those where she was my main focus.
Of course.
Yeah.
I had to ask about the intimacy because, you know, everyone watches. Your students probably watch. The faculty at the school probably watches. Your friends and family watch.
Yeah. They probably have had meetings, like administrators might have had meetings about it. You never know.
That's wild, right?
Yeah, because being a teacher, you have to be careful.
Right.
Yeah,
So
and that was one of those things after that comment. I was like, look, babe, we gotta, you know, like, I work with kids. Like,
we gotta
try
calm
to be
it down.
smart a little bit. You know, like, we can't be too public.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those where you have to, it's like, with me and Gypsy, we lived and learned. You know, things we could do and things we couldn't.
Yeah, like all couples.
Yeah.
Ken checked in.
What?
If something happens with Gypsy and Ken, it's going to be your fault.
He's trying to weasel his way back in because now Gypsy's out of prison.
We've seen the super teaser for the remainder of the season.
Correct.
There starts to be a little bit of trouble in paradise.
Right.
What was the moment where you realized, I think things are starting to go south?
Things started to come in play. And it was one of those where, like,
Things
outside
like
influences,
what? Oh, okay.
outside influences started to influence her,
Outside influences like her family?
possibly.
Is that a yes or a no?
I know what happened, and it's one of those where, like, I just don't, I don't know. It's one of those where I don't want to give it all away.
I totally understand
like I'm still
that.
holding it.
Of course, and we of course always want to be respectful of that. In watching the show, you seem very close with her father and her stepmother. You're there with them in those moments, those hours leading up to her prison release.
Right.
They're so excited that you're the one that gets to go pick her up from prison. So I'm
Well,
curious.
they later told me, like, they were jealous of me doing that. Like, they later came out and were like, you know, you took moments away from us.
Oh.
And so I think the animosity might have started there. Now, me and her dad were great. Like, I have the utmost respect for Rod.
Okay, and how about your relationship with Christy?
That's a different story.
Okay,
You know,
a little
that's-
fractured?
You know, she's come out recently and said that, like, she's proud that she split us up.
How did that make you feel?
Well, you're betrayed because somebody's telling you something to your face and then behind your back they're doing something different.
One theory behind your split was this whole food hoarding claim. You go on TikTok, you do the whole fridge tour.
Oh my God, the humanity! There's stuff everywhere.
What did you make of that rumor?
I mean, it's laughable. I did the fridge tour video just to kind of make fun of it. You know, I was just having fun. I didn't even know what a food hoarder was.
All right, so food hoarding we can put to bed.
Yeah, that's terrible. Like,
Yeah.
That's one rumor that I had to dispel immediately.
Okay, the other big rumor that I've seen floating around online was that you reminded Gypsy a lot of her mother. What do you make of that accusation? Have you seen that?
That's ridiculous. I don't know how a reminder of her mother. Like, honestly, Gypsy, if anybody knows Gypsy, they know that Gypsy does whatever she wants, whenever she wants. And you'll see it in the documentary. But it's one of those where, like, that's the one thing I ever told Gypsy, no, you can't do it.
But everything else you maintain fully supportive husband.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I was always there for Gypsy. You know, it's one of those where, like, I still want to be there for Gypsy. Like, I'm a nurturer by nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even during a tough time like a split, you still want to be there for her.
I would like to be, but at the same time, like, I know things have changed. You know, it's one of those where I'm accepting that.
You know, one of the big things that is going to be explored in these future episodes is that you're not comfortable with Gypsy maintaining contact with her ex, Ken.
Are you happy?
I'm very happy.
I just think that I would be happier somewhere else.
Well, don't call Ken. You're probably already talking to him anyway.
When did you first suspect, I think something's up here?
You know, I would confront Gypsy, and she would always be like, I'm not talking to him. You know, so...
And you think she was? You think she was lying?
In hindsight, possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, like now the split has happened, I mean, you find out certain things. So, you know, at the time, I didn't believe it, you know, that she wasn't talking, you know, to him, but it is what it is.
Did your spidey senses sort of get triggered? Like, I feel like my wife is texting her ex?
No, you know, because it's one of those where, like, I wanted to trust her, you know, it was like...
Of course, it was your wife.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those where, like, we had that discussion long ago, like, hey, do you still want Ken? She was like, no, I'm with you, you know, she committed to me.
Yeah.
And then one day it was like, I don't want to be married anymore.
I'm just trying to piece this all together. Your marriage was seemingly good, and then you
Correct.
just said until one day she said, I don't want to be married anymore.
Correct.
Can you fill me in on that gap? What happened that triggered that response from her?
I'm still, I mean, like, I know, and I have my theories and everything, but I'm still holding it close to the vest right now. You know, it's one of those where, like, I don't want to, because I'm still in reflection mode.
Are you angry? Are you resentful? Do you feel blindsided or shocked?
I'm blindsided about how fast the process went. I am blindsided about how fast it was like, I'm going to stay with my parents for the weekend, and then I'm never coming back. So it's one of those where it was just, it's shocking at how fast it went from this to that to now I'm with Ken and I'm in love with him. He's
Yeah.
my soulmate, and you were just married to me a week ago. Like, it's hard to process, you know.
Gypsy maintains that she did not leave you to go be with Ken.
Ken and I were just on two separate paths at that time, and our paths just happened to now reconnect.
What do you believe? You're laughing.
Yeah, I am.
So you believe that she left you to go be with Ken,
I didn't say that.
but you're laughing.
But I mean, look at what's happened. I mean, come on, anybody could see. I mean, proof's in the pudding, right? You got to realize, like, that was my person. Like, she committed to me too, and then poof.
Yeah. I mean, I love that you still use the words husband and wife. Like, it sounds to me like you're still fighting, like you would still love for her to be your wife. Is there therapy or conversations that you've had about, can we repair this?
At this moment, there's so much damage has been done. You know, the matching tattoos broke my heart. Like, that killed me. And that's one of those things that was very permanent. And it's one of those things you can't take back.
So what's done is done.
You know, who's to say? Honestly, I don't know. I'm still I still get mixed signals from time to time, so I don't know. You know, like I'm not a fortune teller.
You haven't seen her, but you're still talking. You're still in communication.
Yeah, like it's not like it was, but yeah, we communicate still. Like it could just be like, are you all right? Or, you know, it could just be.
So you still check on each other?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, that's sweet. Still nice to care about each other as human beings at the end of the day. Gypsy invited, of course, Ken to be a part of Life After Lockup. Did you get to film with him at all? Have you and him had any conversations along the way?
No.
Is that off the table for you?
Absolutely. He doesn't want to catch me in public. That's all I'm saying.
If Ken is watching this interview, what would you want him to know?
No comment.
Okay. If Gypsy watches this interview, what would you like her to know?
No comment.
Okay.
I mean, like she knows what happened. She knows the truth. There's my comment. She knows the truth.
Will we get to see the truth?
You'll get to piece a lot of it together through the documentary.
Okay.
I mean, there's still going to be a lot of underlying questions from people because I'm still questioning things.
What's your number one question that you still have?
I want to know, why did Christy not want us to be together so bad?
You think Christy has that much influence over Gypsy?
I mean, I believe so. You know, like, ultimately,
Yeah.
Gypsy is the one who made the decision. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those, but it's like, I'd go to work and, you know, it's just one of those things, I just question certain things.
Okay.
But that'd probably be my one, is like, why not me?
You're going through a divorce. What do you make of this whole process? What has it been like?
Oh, it's been a whirlwind. Like, it's just, you know, I'm still living it. It's one of those where, like, the documentary is going to air and it's going to be out for 2 months or whatever it is. I think it's 8 episodes. So it's going to be evolving as time goes. So it's one of those where, like, I'm still in reflection process mode. I know I said that a lot, but it's true. Like, my mind is piecing things together.
That's your mind, though. How's your heart?
Right now, my heart's broke. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, but I'm picking the pieces up best I can.
Is it fair to say that you are still very much in love with Gypsy Rose?
I mean, you gotta realize that was my wife. That is my wife. I don't wear my wedding ring anymore. You know, it's one of those where, like, I'm accepting things. Wasn't my choice, but I mean, you have to dust yourself off. I thought she was my one, you know? So, like, yeah. You know, I think, honestly, I'm in love with the girl that I fell in love with. You know,
And do you think she's different today?
I see changes that have happened, and she's definitely not the girl that I fell in love with. And I still covet that girl that I fell in love with. And I wish that she was there. Like, I still wish that she was still there.
Are you interested in a reconciliation? What would that take to regain your trust?
You know, the matching tattoos, like I said, that was huge. That's one of those things you can't just, like, wipe off. You know, like, that, she's done a lot to me, a lot of damage. I don't know. Like, it would, if there was, then it would be a long road. But who knows? Like I said, I don't know.
I don't know how much you read online, but you have got a lot of love and a lot of support.
Yeah, and I appreciate everybody who supports me.
You are now single, my friend. I imagine that inbox is full.
It is.
So are you entertaining
I mean,
any of these possible suitresses in your future?
I mean, it's hard to see, like, all this attention, you know, because, like, I'm just a normal guy. So it's one of those where I see all this attention from other females and I'm getting flooded. And it's great. Flooded. Like, yeah. Like
how
great.
many a day?
Probably 25 a day. And it's sweet. But honestly, all I ever wanted was the attention of one woman. So to get all this attention from other women is different.
So dating status right now?
I'm single.
Single?
Yeah.
I mean, have you thought about going out on a date? Get your mind off of things?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's human nature to think, oh, if I fill the void with this and fill it with that. But I mean, does that do any good? To fill a void and, like, I don't want to play with somebody, you know, like.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, I'm open.
Okay.
I'm open to it.
What does your future look like?
I'd never left my teaching job. So I'm still, you know, I was invited to come back this next fall. So it's one of those where I still have my job.
Well, I've seen some rumors that some people would like to see you on Dancing with the Stars.
I have no comment for that. I have no idea.
Okay.
I've seen a lot where they're like, the next Bachelor needs to be Ryan, and and that, I don't even know what to think of that. Like, it's one of those where like I can't even process that right now.